News with Gina.
The News with Gina Grad.
Harvey Weinstein's lawyers began their case in the mogul's rape trial Monday, and as we record this, I think I heard that it's already over. I think I heard that the defense might have rested. They called Talita Coco Maia, a Brazilian actress and former pal of accuser Jessica Mans. She said Mann repeatedly called Weinstein her spiritual soulmate. Maia added that Mann seemed to really like him as a person, and Mann never told her that Weinstein hurt or raped her. Earlier in the day, the defense called another witness, Nelson Lopez. He was the manager, the building manager, where Annabella Sciorra claims Weinstein raped her in the 90s. He testified that Sciorra never told him about someone coming to her apartment unannounced. Also that he never saw Weinstein in the building. And it does seem to be
set him free.
Yeah, exactly. Reports say the jury could reach a decision on this whole shebang by Tuesday.
What, let's just say he's free. He doesn't go back
You're free to do what?
Where he was.
Yeah.
But he does have, I guess, a field of expertise. I mean, he knows producing and whatever.
There's no denying it.
Look, he chose to sort of put himself out there with the Academy Awards and Hillary Clinton and shit, but he could do what he's doing from an office somewhere.
Yeah.
No one would have to know what he's doing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Bob could run the operation.
Yeah.
Bob Weinstein.
Yeah.
But that's the other
he
thing.
could go by the name Jules Dash. And
Don't sully the good name of Jules Dash.
And get something done, you know?
And when you put it like that, this industry is not as pious as they say they are. So if you have access to Harvey Weinstein and you want to be your ghost partner.
if you can make money off the guy.
Sign here.
This industry will follow the money,
Yeah.
like any industry. The only difference between this industry, Hollywood, meaning Sam Jackson going to Winnipeg and staying in the room next to me, or getting a tax break, or going to Atlanta, or going to Canada, or doing whatever, and or working with Weinstein, whatever that is. The only difference between this industry and every industry that just follows the money is this industry preaches at everyone about following the money and then follows the money, whereas Nabisco and GE don't preach at everyone and then follow the money.
Just go.
We preach and then we follow the money. That's the only difference.
Yeah.
That's, by the way, why people don't like it. They don't like the hypocrisy.
Right. That's why I
following
said
the money is fine.
Everyone says they're pious, they're righteous indignation. But if you have access to Harvey, who is gettable now, you will take it.
He's taking meetings?
Yeah.
I mean, if he got off, he'd be very gettable.
Mm-hmm.
So we will stay tuned for that. A new mobile app has been released in China that tracks people and sends them a warning if they've been in close proximity to someone with coronavirus.
You know what always scares me? When you see the footage of the trucks going down the street and they're shooting the vaporized, chlorine into the air. And it's like a giant truck with a big air cannon in the back of it. Have you seen any of these visuals of this?
It's like a Marshall state.
Yeah,
it's like
they're like shooting the stuff into the
atmosphere. Yeah.
Febreze.
Now everyone is always like, "Oh my God, look what they have to do," and there's shots of these just big cannons just firing this stuff into the air one after the other. And my feeling is always this: it's like, we have those trucks, or they have those trucks. Like, why do they have those trucks? Like, where do the trucks come from?
Why do they need those?
And then I go, do we have those trucks? Like, where? I've never seen one of those trucks.
And then the thought's like, is that what those are originally intended for, or are they modifying these for this crisis?
They seem pretty bespoke. I mean, they seem dedicated.
Specific.
Yeah, I don't know if that. Maybe it has something to do with farming, but either way. Also, in terms of driving the trucks, I feel the same way when there's a long queue of those trucks, like there's 3 abreast and there's 20 rows long. I feel the same way in terms of who's the tip of the point, who's the tip of the spear, like who's up front. I feel the same. I have the same theory about that as I do with Gangbang World Records, which is a shotgun. I'm not going 128th.
Yeah. I want a single digit at least.
I don't want to slip on big puddles of goo on my way in. I want to go first. Yeah. I dab my brow with a wet nap, and then I leave. I go get a Z-Man.
You're like Seinfeld. You're home before thing's over.
Yeah, and if we're going to drive the truck that's shooting weaponized chlorine out of the back. I like to be in the front. I don't want to be in the row behind that's just getting the weaponized chlorine shot at it.
Yeah.
That's what
pretty disinfectant.
the way I roll.
Yeah. On the way here, Gary and Shannon were talking to a guy who's stuck in the quarantine and on the Princess Cruise in Yokohama, Japan, and they just won't let anyone off yet because they're in quarantine. And God bless this guy, older gentleman from Santa Clarita. They own a little mom and pop radio station, I think. And he's, instead of just like kvetching and saying this is the worst, he's like, they're treating us good. They downloaded all these movies.
Oh, the anti-Carolla.
Yeah, exactly. We have a nice balcony. They're doing, we each got our own thermometer. We have our own wet wipes. Everyone's doing great.
Well, quarantined on a cruise ship.
Not bad.
I mean, you could do worse.
Is the casino open?
Yeah.
Probably.
That's a real consideration.
And that's the thing. They're in the port where they're going to leave anyway, so they'll be able to disembark and just go home. But they even said the way they get checked 2 or 3 times a day. They have their temperature checked. They do, blood draws or whatever they do. And they're, according to him, they are more checked and ready to go than the people that are quarantined at the Air Force bases. I mean, these people, when you're cleared, you are cleared.
All right.
Great.
Or, like I'm saying, you can get the app. So according to China's state news agency, the close contact detector was issued on Saturday night. So those using the app can scan a QR code, enter their information, and request information to see whether they've been in contact with anyone infected by the virus. If the app discovers that the user may be at risk, they'll be advised to contact local health authorities or stay home. So it seems like maybe like a GPS location, like, I was at that McDonald's.
Well, also, the greatest way for the Chinese government to have people willingly sign up to be tracked.
Which I kind of feel like they were doing that already.
That's probably true.
Yeah, so they're already on the grid. Well, the president has a new campaign style that he hopes works in the coming months.
How long can China remain China? Now let's like I'll give you an example. Well, we were talking about Harvey Weinstein.
Right.
Harvey Weinstein can't do what Harvey Weinstein did now. It's just too much scrutiny, too much around. Right. China's a little different. But what I'm saying is can they keep this up for another 20 years with all the world just sort of looking all the time?
It's weird, though, because they kind of have something in common, Harvey Weinstein and China. Like, they're both, heavyweights, no pun intended, financially. You know what I mean?
Right,
you have to do business with China, and sometimes you have to do business on their terms if you're almost in the other country.
I mean, look at the NBA and how they do it. Oh, sorry, China.
So as long as they wield that huge stick, which is a gigantic economy, you kind of have to... I know what you're saying. They're out of step with the times. Yeah,
you're right. No, you're right. If people would morally divest, if you look no further than the NBA, the most woke people in the world, if they go, look, that's a corrupt society and they oppress people and we have no interest in their blood money. Right. We're not doing business with them. So
they have a lot of interest in their blood money.
You have the NBA, which is arguably part of their reputation is how woke they are and how progressive and how everything they are, and they're taking money from China happily because it's so much money. So if we're not going to talk the NBA out of it, then how are we going to talk some guy manufactures, metal parts for jet engines?
I doubt we're going to talk Apple out of it. And they have the jumper nets.
That's right.
So USA Today says that Donald Trump told his supporters to get out and vote on Tuesday for the weakest Democrat in the New Hampshire primary. He said that his supporters voting for the weakest Democrat will help him or her win the nomination, and then the president will have an easier time getting reelected. However, the president wouldn't single out who he thought was the weakest Democrat. He just said, I think they're all weak.
Are they, does he mean statistically
whoever's
the lowest?
Whoever's most beatable, yeah. And so far, I think right now for the caucus they're doing, or the primaries, I think they're still in single digits. I don't think people are really getting out to show their support yet. At last I heard Klobuchar was 8.
Well, Buttigieg is coming on, and Bernie's coming on, and Biden's sliding, and Klobuchar's coming on, right?
What do you guys think? I feel like Trump would have a tougher time with the Andrew Yangs of the world than he would with the Bernie Sanderses of the world. You know what I mean? Careful what you wish for.
Yes.
He should hope Bernie Sanders wins.
I think he probably is rooting for Bernie Sanders. I think he'd have a tough...
tougher. I'm just saying.
I like Yang. We're still talking to his people and trying to work that out and get him up here. But it's like I went to Yang's website, and I can't remember if I mentioned this before, but it's
no.
I was like, I went to his website, and I was like, a couple things that are interesting. you go to Yang's website, and it's just like, here's the topics, here's my takes on. You hit the topic that you want, energy or school or pollution or whatever it is, and then here's my take on it. You go to like Elizabeth Warren's website, it's like, we're better together.
Right, it's a sunrise.
Support, uplift.
Hit a subject, hit this if you want to donate,
right.
but you have to look around to find where she stands on stuff. It's just good vibes, and
so Subaru model, as long as everyone's selling, issues, differentiate yourself and sell good vibes, sunshine, and
puppy
puppies.
kissing booths.
And Yang is like economy and jobs, voting, reform, environment. And I just went and hit energy, and I went and hit nuclear energy. And it's like, yep, we need nuclear energy. There's a new, we're in their fourth generation. They use it in Europe. It's a lot cleaner and safer than it used to be, and it's a great stopgap measure. We're not going to be able to get windmills and tide, whatever, and solar. We're not going to be up. This is going to work. This will keep us going cleanly without a carbon footprint until we get to that point. And it's better technology now, so this is what we should be. And I was like, okay, that guy's intellectually honest.
Right.
That's what he's doing. He's going, do we need this or don't we need that? Which, for me, it's like if I said, and I'd be curious if he had a case on like school choice. Like, to me, if I'm talking to a Democrat and they go, yeah, we need nuclear and we need school choice because it's better for the kids and it's better for the environment, I'd go, that's right. Okay, you're being intellectually honest. Right. Even it's you can't just yell no nukes. You know what I mean? Like,
what else you got?
He could in a way that would work. I think people are always talking about, you got to have a flamethrower out there yelling at Trump. No, you don't have to. No. Make Trump look bad. You just fight him with issues and data and logic. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We will see what happens with that. A former MLB pitcher has sued the Houston Astros, claiming that the team's sign stealing hastened the end of his career. And he kind of has a point. The suit filed by former Toronto Blue Jays pitcher Mike Bolsinger says that Astros, the trash can banging was at its peak when he pitched against them on August 4th, 2017. He gave up 4 runs, 4 hits, 3 walks in a third of an inning. And there were bangs on 12 of his 29 pitches. Bolsinger was sent down to the minors after that. He's never been back to the major leagues since. And his suit accuses the Astros of unfair business practices, negligence, and intentional interference with contractual and economic relations. So he's seeking unspecified damages for himself, but he does want the Astros to forfeit the $31 million they made in bonuses and give them to charities in LA, children's charities, retired baseball players funds for people who need financial assistance. But we don't know what he's asking.
It's hard to argue.
Yeah, be interested what Mark thinks of this.
Good news for Pete Rose.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I'm not the only asshole in the league.
Actually, Garrigus is the one who's filing the lawsuit.
Amazing!
Of course.
Well, you said lawsuit was being filed. You should have known at that point.
That's on me. That was bad reporting.
Who bought the Paul Newman race car? It's self-evident.
Yeah. I can't wait to hear about that.
This is interesting, and I'll talk to him about it later in the week. In a world where you go, oh, come on, which I do with most lawsuits, there's definitely some validity.
Yep,
I mean,
it ended his career.
You get lit up a couple games or a game, right. You get lit up, you get sent down. Now, look.
He certainly has some other games.
If you won the Cy Young the season before, that's one thing. But if you're on the bubble, and there's a lot of people on the bubble, and there's probably more guys on the bubble than there are all-stars for sure, and you get lit up, and these guys were timing your pitches. I mean, they knew what was coming. Yep. There's an argument there, sure.
I agree.
And this is the kind of lawsuit that Mark loves because, A, you're not suing an empty bag. You're suing a franchise that's worth cajillions of dollars. And B, you're not a janitor who's working in one of the Twin Towers. You're a professional pitcher. The upside is
there was money to be
made.
You also have the moral high ground. I doubt Mark cares about that.
No.
But, you have the moral high ground here. You're like, these guys were cheating. They were caught, and now I'm coming for mine.
Yeah, ruin this guy's life.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of ruin this guy's life, remember how Pamela Anderson, I told you she got married and it was, a match made in heaven and it only lasted 12 days?
Right.
And that seemed a little weird.
Yes.
Well, we have some possible new info on why the marriage took place in the first place.
It's a citizenship thing?
Better. So John Peters told Page
I read
6,
some of it. She was like, he could barely steer a houseboat with his hog. I mean, he could maneuver it, but we couldn't dock.
You couldn't get around a sound.
Dock with he could, because part of the criteria is you got to be able to steer a houseboat with your dick.
Pull it in backwards.
And he's like, it's fine if they're just going in a straight line or there's like a slow bend in the river, but he couldn't back it in. He couldn't dock it,
Yeah. Well, I have the other thing that she said.
It was never going to last.
It wasn't going to last.
Peters says the relationship ended
Which is good news for the guy who had to throw the rope.
Yeah.
That guy was delighted. Go ahead.
The relationship ended after he paid off some of the, quote, broke actress's debt. He went on to say that, quote, there's no fool like an old fool. Peters, who produced A Star is Born, said Pam proposed to him in a text. He said it was a dream come true, even though he was engaged to someone else and she was in the process of moving in. But he dropped everything for Pamela.
That's an uncomfortable phone call.
Indeed.
Hey!
He says she had almost $200,000 in bills and no way to pay it, so I paid it, and this is the thanks I get. So the two secretly wed on January 20th, but announced on February 1st that it was over.
Maybe she's not great.
What? Bite your tongue.
I mean, also, when you age out of something and then you can't do it anymore, or, it's kind of a bad sign. What I mean is like, nobody ever goes, wait a minute, why isn't that guy a sought-after stand-up comedian before? Oh, he turned 40. So
it's too bad. You know how it goes in this industry.
Anymore. Like, why isn't that guy a great structural engineer? Or why isn't she a great chef or a school teacher or
look at the crow's feet.
Or an attorney? Well, she turned 40. And if you basically turn 40 and you stop working, and there's versions of it where you could write, you could produce, you could manage, you could do whatever. But if you just get old and you're not old, but you didn't work, maybe you didn't have a whole wealth of talent going into it.
It's
possible.
I'm just getting this breaking news alert from CNN. Speaking of Mr. Garrigus, actor Jussie Smollett is indicted for making false reports, says a special prosecutor who investigated.
Garrigus has moved on.
I was going to say, I don't know how interested Mark still is, but that is not going away.
Yeah. Oh, God. And also, you got to be careful with the Jussie Smolletts of the world. I've said a million times. If you're Seth Rogen, Seth MacFarlane.
Any Seth.
Or Rogen. But
Seth Green.
Seth Green. If you're anybody named Seth. But if you're Seth MacFarlane, then it doesn't matter. You just move on to your next project. You know what I mean? If you're Jussie Smollett, someone has to hire you.
Right.
And that's where the problem.
Yeah.
That's where the problem comes in.
Wait a second. What if we get like this murderer's row of entertainment together and Harvey Weinstein pitches Jussie Smollett for a brand new independent film? Yeah.
Written and directed by Pam Anderson.
That's right.
Fresh
Oscar
off
Gold.
the triumph known as Barbwire.
Wait, you get Bryan Singer in there to direct.
Oh, for sure. He's very talented.
Spacey's not doing much.
In my pantheon of movies where they came up with the title first, somebody just wrote Barbwire. Barbara.
Hold on.
Barbara. Okay. I got a movie.
Call Heather Locklear.
Yeah.
If she passes.
Let's see. Face Off. Face Off. Hockey? No. There's just two guys whose face. Yeah, like I believe
we got to come up with the pantheon.
Yeah.
Of titles before the movie.
Yeah, Con Air could be up there.
Con Air is good.
Wire. Yeah.
A couple of Seagal movies.
Yeah.
Under Siege.
Yeah. All right, let's do one more.
All right. Caitlin, do you have that video that I keep asking for every day because I love it so much? So there's a New York City deli worker, and his desire to help other people has gone viral. It's very fun. 20-year-old Ahmed Alwan has created a series of videos on TikTok that show some of his customers getting 5 seconds to take anything they want from his father's store if they can answer a math question correctly. He said he started doing it with the kids, and he loved it. He expanded it to some of the more of the people in need in the neighborhood. Everyone's having fun with it. Although I have seen many of these, and some kids do jump the counter and take all the money out of the register. Alwan says his father has approved the practice and that the items that are given away come out of this kid's salary. So here's one example of the many examples there are.
Oh, it's not just one math problem. It's
he does it to anyone who comes in. Yeah, different math problem.
Jessica, what? If you get this question right, you have 5 seconds to pick up whatever you want.
What is it?
7 times 7 plus 10.
59.
5.
He's grabbing a basket.
4.
Reach in this guy's pocket. She pulls his wallet out.
3.
And Takis.
2. 2 1/4. 2 2/4.
Get bananas, get newspapers.
You want me to dare?
What would you
Now,
get?
well, she's cute, and this is probably because this was probably on the earlier side of TikTok. I've watched a lot of these. They've gotten savvy. Before he even says your 5 seconds, like, give me that speaker behind the counter, open the register, give me $40. And they just start pointing.
Yeah,
so
there's the supermarket sweep style
There's strategy now, yeah.
How does the fucking inventory work? Because like it's everyone. Every time I go somewhere, it's like I'm just gonna hold this up, and here's $2, and they're like, no, we gotta do the bar scan. We don't know. Yeah. Inventory.
Down 8 bags of Cheetos.
Right.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
Can you guys smell a good deli right now? Like a New York deli. And also, in my pantheon of not eating enough fish and chips, I don't go to enough delis.
Well,
Damn right.
Like, there aren't great delis
There
here.
aren't.
I was gonna say.
And they're not
Few and
where
far
I live.
between.
There's no good
Oh, you're in the
delis.
shop.
But a good deli is
Yeah.
so goddamn good.
A wedge sandwich.
LA is lousy, and I mean that in a positive way, with Jewish delis. Like they got the Nate Now's and they got the Langers and all that. And that there's a place for those, but there's a dearth of Italian delis. A dearth, I tell you. There's Bay Cities and God knows what else.
I know, but I like the pastrami and the pickles.
Yeah,
and
the pickled
stuff and the guy
tomatoes.
behind
I'm just saying the
counter.
ratio. I love it too. The ratio's off.
Like at Katz's in New York, bring a salami to your boy in the army.
It's good. Let me get that.
I love the breakfasts. I love
the matzo bride.
I love when they do like a pancake omelet, and they do the flat.
Ooh.
They do an omelet. They do a flat with pastrami in it or whatever.
I'm in the vast minority here. I hate corned beef. Everyone loves corned beef. I admit that I'm in the minority. Go pastrami Reuben. Pastrami Reuben is the way to go with the melted cheese.
And
and
it's
sauerkraut.
also in
Reubens
delis are
with pastrami?
I thought
alarming.
Reubens were typically corned beef.
They're pastrami.
I thought they were pastrami too.
Oh, okay,
but either
well,
way.
either way,
Except
Yes,
for
we
Reuben.
both do that,
Reuben.
Brian.
No, it's typically corned beef.
Yeah.
There you go.
That
What's
doesn't
in a
sound familiar.
Z-Man? Wait. He also, delis are really expensive.
Very.
Yes.
Oh my God,
They're
a sandwich
weird.
is $18 to $24.
Right. But God damn, it's good.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where
The Russian dressing.
you go to the, you do, like, it's like I do sushi a ton, and I like sushi, but I like a deli almost equally, and I just never somehow miss it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm
My
with you.
commitment is I'm going deli.
New Year's resolution.
All right. Did we bring it home, Gina Grad?
We'll do it right now. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news. Do you have half chub right now?
That was the news with Gina Grad.